Greetings and blessings, everyone. James Thomas Devitt, Lights for the Way podcast. And our sponsor, of course, is the Blue Star Spiritual Group. And they are currently offering star seed readings where you can find out who you are in true reality, where you come from, what type of a world it is, things like this. We are also offering a special on our personal Akashic Scrolls, which are $50 at the moment, and it's a fantastic deal. It's a 6 to 6.5 page reading, a message from Spirit on what you need to know right now. Today we are going to talk about something that is perplexing, and it is something that a lot of people have been talking about for quite some time, actually. Today's topic is, of course, on the Ascension. Now, we have people from all walks of the spiritual spectrum who are talking about the Ascension. And we even have people like government insiders like Corey Good, who is speaking about the Ascension as well. And so, we need to understand that there is a reason why all of this talk about the Ascension. We have this situation where since, I would say probably the last 40 or 50 years, we've had large swaths of starseed who have been awakening. And they have been waking up in waves, shall we say. So it's been quite interesting. And for myself, of course, I consciously started on this little journey on the 12th of November, 1986. So I've been on it for quite a while. Now, over the last 5 years, I would say, especially since 2012, has been the latest wave of starseed who have been awakening. And of course, for those who are awakening today, in some regards, it's easier. And in other regards, it's much, much harder. There is so much stuff out there that it can be so overwhelming and confusing. And one of the most confusing topics is the Ascension. Now, where does the talk of the Ascension come from? It's very simple, actually. Where it basically comes from is the fact that part of Project Earth and all of the star seeds or volunteers who are here assisting the native human population, they know at a deep level that part of the process of the evolution of the native human population is their ascension. So that is part of it. Now, what I find most fascinating, to be honest with you, is the fact that for the star seeds and the volunteers who are here, they have already gone through their own evolutionary process and ascension from the world in which they have come from, whether it be the Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, Alpha Centauri, Orion, wherever their planet might reside, or even in another galaxy or whatever, because the normal situation basically follows kind of a prescribed plan, if you will. All right. So what we have here, first and foremost, is a world is created and life evolves on that planet. It's in the right place. Life is evolving. Eventually, humanoid life evolves. Now, when that happens, they send several groups who have a specific mission that they have to fulfill. They have to answer a question. And the question that they have to answer is, can the native human population evolve? Here on Earth, the answer, of course, was yes. And of course, and we go into this in the first podcast on Project Earth. However, so basically the star seeds come, and the volunteers and star seeds, come from worlds that are at least in the fifth dimension. Why is it important for them to come? Well, it's important for them to come because, of course, what is being asked of the native human population, which is their evolution and eventual ascension, all the star seeds have already gone through that. So they have already evolved and they have already moved from, say, a third dimensional reality into the fifth dimensional reality, or even a sixth or seventh dimensional reality. We have a number of different volunteers and starseeds who are here. Now, the difference, of course, is, well, we won't go into that. We've done that on the Starseeds podcast. But on this, what you have to understand is this. It's a paradox. The Ascension is a paradox. Now, I do understand people look and see what is going on this planet. And for Christians, they pray for the second coming of Jesus and for Armageddon and for the cleansing to happen and all of this and the 1,000 years of peace. And I get that. I really do. And we have a lot of spiritual people out there who are clamoring for the Ascension for basically the same reason. We've got the Muslims out there clamoring for the second Imam to appear, and the Jews clamoring for the Messiah to appear, and everyone's clamoring and clamoring and clamoring. You know, we've got people like Sheldon Neidl out there, who for 20 years has been bringing through information from the Pleiadians, or says it's the Pleiadians, and they've been talking about 20 years now about, oh yeah, we're almost there. We're going to, land on the White House lawn and show ourselves fully, and everything's going to happen, and it's been going on for over 20 years now. And of course, we're still sitting and we're still waiting, and we're like, okay, well, now is this really going to happen? And we think to ourselves, hello, what is going on here? I mean, honestly, what is happening? And I'm going to tell you what's happening, because you see, the Ascension is real. And we have gone through our first stage of Ascension. The first stage of Ascension occurred at the completion of Phase 1 of Project Earth. And the first stage of Ascension is to activate an energy matrix that is now working on Earth. It is moving through the population. It is moving through governments. It is moving through all sorts. And that is why so much is happening now, because an activation has occurred. And now begins the clearing, if you will. Secrets are being exposed. People are falling away on the wayside. All sorts of stuff is going on and happening. We're watching in America as every so often, regularly, we have these mass shootings. Just had this massive mass shooting in Las Vegas. Like 58 people dead and over 500 wounded. There were multiple shooters. The government's trying to say there was only one. That's another, conversation. You can watch Alex Jones for all of that. At the end of the day, there's a process happening where people are like signing up, unbeknownst to themselves. They're not conscious of this. You have to understand that they are not conscious of this, but they are signing up for these events, and it's trying to get people to wake up and to realize a change is in order. A change needs to be made. We are seeing it all over the place. Just this morning, I opened up my phone and I'm looking at the news articles, and the first thing that slaps me in the face is a massive bombing in Mogadishu, in Somalia. Hundreds of people killed and everything. They're trying to get people to wake up and smell the coffee. Look, enough is enough, all right? Now, growing up, my favorite subject in school was history. Growing up in the States, of course, I didn't really realize so much about world history because, in high school and everything, our focus was U.S. history, which wasn't actually very accurate anyway. Um, I mean, they still celebrate Columbus Day, which is beyond me why they even celebrate Columbus Day, except to give themselves another holiday, basically. So we have this situation where I was told by a history teacher, if you don't learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it. And I thought about that, and I've been thinking about that quite a bit lately. And the reason I have been is because if you look at it, what are some telltale signs that we can see from history? Here we go. Number one, let's look at religion. Now, originally, because we don't have all of the information on the history of planet Earth, we have a situation where, you had Druidism, you had the ancient gods and goddesses of Egypt and Greece and Rome and Babylon and the Mayan, religion and all of these religions, right? and over time they got replaced, and they got replaced by Judaism, by Christianity, by Buddhism, by Hinduism, by Christianity. I said Christianity. Islam. Islam was the latest to come around 500 years ago. So what does history tell us? Religions will be there for a long time, perhaps even thousands of years. But sooner or later, it will fall away, being replaced by something new, by something different. And if we look at what's going on in this world at the moment, you look here in New Zealand, all right? In our last census, only 48% of the population in New Zealand classified themselves as being religious. How many Catholic churches in America have been closed because they just don't have enough parishioners? How many churches are now moving towards rock and roll and that type of genres just to get in new blood and new people, especially younger people, into the churches and stuff? It's a competition. There's over 3,000 different Christian denominations. You've got different sects of Islam and Judaism. Hinduism is filled with different gods and goddesses. And Buddhism, you got different forms of Buddhism as well. You got the Tibetan Buddhism, which is under the Dalai Lama. You've got the Buddhism in Thailand, which is just Buddhism. Has nothing to do with the Dalai Lama whatsoever. In Japan, you've got Zen Buddhism. You got all of these different things. And people are starting to go, you know what? I don't need religion. They're starting to realize that they can actually believe in God or a higher power and not have religion. So that is something that is slowly beginning to shift and change. This is part of the evolutionary process. Now, what's the other one? We look at Rome and the Roman Empire, the Egyptian Empire, basically. The Greeks were big time in charge, before the Romans, and so on and so forth. And every empire has fallen. And of course, the latest one, of course, is Britain and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union basically was dismantled by Mikhail Gorbachev in 1989. However, it was a situation where, things have shifted and changed. Now you look at Britain, and at one time they had India and Hong Kong and Burma and many countries in Africa. And all of that's gone now, and they keep retreating further and further into themselves to the point now where you've got Scotland, who I have no doubt will eventually go independence to go back into the Euro and the European Union. And there's even talk of possibly Northern Ireland doing it, and perhaps even Wales. So their fall is more and more moving in that direction. So who's next? The United States of America. This is all part of a process of tearing down the old to allow the new to come forward. Even China is battling within itself to find where it belongs in the greater scheme of things. You know, North Korea, catalyst, I think, personally. So the Ascension. How does this relate to the Ascension? Well, how it relates to the Ascension is very simple. Because you see, with all of these events, things are being shifted and moved and transposed. Now, I did a potential show a couple of shows ago, and I do feel that at some point we are going to have some major events go on and happen on the planet that's going to change everything. It's coming. It's got to come. People are so frustrated and so tired of the direction that you know this world is going in, that sooner or later it's just something's got to give. Now, I was working with Anita and we were talking about time. Our sense, our feeling is that we are probably looking at another 4,000 years before the actual ascension takes place. And you have to think about it. The ascension is for the native human population. So ask yourself a question. Because, I mean, think about it. The star seeds have already ascended. They've already gone through the evolutionary process. They've already ascended. So technically speaking, they don't need to ascend again. The star seed that will be on the planet when the native human population ascends will ascend with them. But what ends up happening is probably, say, 1,000 years from now, when this world is very, very, very different, there won't be that many starseed left on this planet. You see, you need the majority of your starseed here in phase 1 of Project Earth. Once you've crossed that barrier from phase 1 into phase 2, which happened on the 21st of December 2012, now you're into that second phase. But now is the critical time, and this is why so many starseed are awakening, and why they have been awakening over the last 50 years, and why they're going to continue to awaken, because they're going to slowly begin to push everything forward. One of the things I've discovered on this path over the last almost 31 years, it'll be 31 years on the 12th of next month. And one of the things that I've discovered is we do so much more than we are conscious of. It's just like I know for a fact that every night I go up onto the Blue Star and I'm doing stuff. I might be giving speeches. I might be working with people. I might be doing healings on people, all sorts of things. I've had people come to me and go, "Thank you very much for coming to me last night and providing me with the healing that you did for me." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool. That's great, But for me, I don't recall it. I don't remember it. I'm not conscious of it. I know that I do these things, but I'm not conscious of it. So we are going, we have starseed that will go into a grocery store, like Pack and Save, that we have here in New Zealand. And they will go in there and they will buy their groceries and they will look at people and they will look around and they are not even conscious of the fact that different people that they're seeing and interacting with, different people that they are passing, they are giving energy to. They are taking little bits and pieces off of them. They are providing some healing for them. And they may work as a chef, and they may not even do any kind of spiritual work, but they're starseed and they're aware that they're a starseed, and they're doing this on a daily basis because we're all participating and assisting this planet. And the thing is, and this is what you got to remember here, if we were conscious of all of these things, right? If we were totally conscious of everything that we're doing, and had all of our abilities that we have in true reality here, we wouldn't be able to be here. We wouldn't be able to function here. And that's why certain things are closed off to us. And that's why we do so many things. Even those spiritual teachers and healers and readers out there, including myself, right? We are probably only conscious of maybe 20% of what we're actually doing. And that's because there's so much at stake. If this planet was completely destroyed, this project would be a failure. And that's why you've had so much intervention, like in the 70s and 80s and stuff, where UFOs were flying over nuclear depots and stuff like that, missile silos in Europe and the States. And they were completely deactivating the nukes, the nuclear weapons, and the nuclear weapon systems to demonstrate we're not going to allow you to completely destroy this planet. The thing that you also have to remember is we have all this talk about global warming. Oh my God, it's the scourge of the planet, and all the people are responsible. And yet, how many people tell you that there's been like 7 or 8 ice ages, that we've gone through this warming trend before? This isn't the first time. Scientists even say that we've gone through pole shifts, 7 or 8 times as well. Natural cycles. Now, I'm not saying that we haven't contributed to global warming that's currently happening on the planet. But I think what you need to understand and realize is it's not quite the way you might think. Okay, so the Ascension is all about the native human population. As starseeds, within your soul, within your system, within you, that part of the process of what's going on this planet is evolution and ascension. Because at the end of the day, that's the 2 main things that is to be achieved here. Phase 2 will take less time than phase 1, because phase 1 is the critical phase. That's where the native human population have to make a choice to evolve. And that choice was made. So phase 1 has been completed. We're now moved into phase 2. Phase 2 is all about a reorganization, which has already started on this planet. And I'm going to tell you now, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, in many places on this planet, it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But it's not to be viewed as a bad thing or a negative thing. This is all about a shift. This is all about a change that is occurring, which is going to benefit every single native human on this planet. See, what will end up happening is this. We have a lot of native humans. And in time, there's going to be a cull that happens here. And there's going to be a lot of humans who leave their current incarnation. And over time, in the future, moving forward, all of these people will keep, come back and keep coming back, and the population will grow again. But it's going to be a new energy, which, I mean, if you look at the babies today, you can see it in their eyes. They're already filled with that new energy, and it's amazing. It's happening for a reason, because this is part of the process of evolution. The other thing you have to remember is this. We live on this planet in linear time. Now, for the star seeds, we actually reside in quantum time. And so we are looking at this from the standpoint of, well, I'm here now in this lifetime. We need the ascension now, today. No. This is one drop in the bucket of water. This is one lifetime. You've had hundreds of lifetimes. Someone like myself, probably over 10,000 lifetimes on this planet, but that's beside the point. The point is, even if you live to be 100 years old, it's still just a drop in the bucket. Things don't happen in an instant, even though sometimes it appears that way. It takes careful planning, and it takes putting the pieces of the puzzle into place. And that's what the star seeds are here doing. They are putting these pieces of the puzzle into place. You've got all these star seeds, and they're trying to compete with each other, trying to get out their own personal messages, trying to get out, oh, follow me, I have the truth above everyone. All this competition. We have all these people talking about twin flames who don't have an idea about twin flames and truth. Don't worry, that'll be a future show. I'm going to debunk the whole myth and tell the truth about twin flames. And yes, it's amazing, but trust me, there is so much more to it than you can't even possibly imagine. So what you are doing here is you are here to assist this planet in its evolution and its ascension. Not for you, not for the star seeds, but for the native human population. And the thing that you need to understand and realize really, really quickly and really, really clearly, you are being successful. You are making a massive difference on this planet. And it is more powerful than you can possibly imagine. But you need to understand and realize that now is the time for you to step into a new reality and a new way of being, because it's all about finding balance within yourself. And the more you can find balance within yourself, the more you are putting that into the collective unconsciousness. The more you are putting that into the collective unconsciousness, the more it can have a positive, beneficial effect on the native human population. For now, we have religion. For now, we have too many people who have too much of a love for guns and bombs and things for destruction. We don't need that crap anymore. You know that, and I know that. And it's slowly beginning to change. It takes time. I'll give you a little fascinating story to close off today. Star Trek. Now, my wife and I have been enjoying the brand new Star Trek show Discovery on Netflix. And it's really, really well done. It's good acting. It's good scripts. It's, we've seen the first 3 episodes now, and it's really, really brilliant. A really good show. And although I didn't watch every episode of Enterprise, I have watched every episode of the original Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, and Discovery so far. And probably at least a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons of Enterprise. And I've seen all the movies. My biggest surprise with Star Trek, though. My son has a book. At least he used to have it. I'm not sure if he still does. And I think it's called The Only Planet of Free Will Choice. It's a channeled book. I've never read it, except for part of the first chapter. And I'll tell you why. When he showed it to me and he goes, "Oh, have a look at the first chapter, man. You'll really find that interesting." Because he knew, he knows I'm a Trekkie. I really like Star Trek. And yes, I actually like Star Wars as well. But so I'm looking at this first chapter, and this person, whoever the channeler is, I don't even know who it is channeling an extraterrestrial presence. What surprised me, to be honest with you, was the fact that one of the people in the audience that was asking questions of this extraterrestrial being, and apparently did this quite regularly back in the day, was Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. And there are many episodes of like Next Generation and stuff like that, that if you watch it, you can't deny the spiritual aspects of it. And I believe that that is a potential for us moving forward. Probably not the same characters or storylines and blah, but that's where we're headed. So the thing is, the native human population, they had to reach a particular point before they can make a choice on whether to evolve or not. They did it 4 times with the answer of no. This last time they answered yes, and that was in 1987. The crossover point we are still in. It's some reports have it at around a 36-year cycle. December 12th, 2012 was the midway point and the point of no return. So we're on the back half of this cycle, but we still have a ways to go. So don't be looking so closely about trying to ascend today or tomorrow, but rather focus on your heart, focus on the love within yourself, and focus on not judging yourself or judging other people, but moving through that into a place of peace and tranquility within your heart. So, be safe, be secure. In our next show, Anita's going to be back, and her and I are going to be talking a really, really cool little topic. We are going to be talking about light language, and we are going to be speaking in light language and giving you all sorts of really cool dialects of light language. And in there as well is going to be encodements and activations. It's going to be a fantastic show, and we'll look for you on that show. On the meantime, we'll see you on the flip side, and have a wonderful